All right, friends, welcome back. In this show, I'm actually going to do a walkthrough on a property. So one of my students actually bought this property, and we're going to go through the property together. She's got it under contract right now. We're having a home inspection done, and this is the point in time where we want to take a really detailed look at it and figure out our initial budgets and figure out if we're going to buy the property, proceed with it. Now, we've already got it under contract, which means an agent's put in an offer and it's been accepted, but we still have time to get out of the deal because the inspection's being done. So we want to go through this with a fine-tooth comb and decide if it's something we want to proceed with.
My name's Ken Dunn. I'm a real estate investor, developer, and a national housing advocate. For decades now, thousands and thousands of Canadian families have been stuck in situations that they don't want. They want to own homes. They want a place to call their own and raise their families. And they're struggling trying to put the money together for a down payment. They're struggling trying to keep their credit in good standing, paying for rent, being moved around, and never feeling settled down. Real estate investors have been using strategies for decades where they buy houses with other people's money, they borrow the money to increase the value, and they sell the houses, making incredible profits. I'm going to show these Canadian families how to use the same techniques to buy their dream homes. They're not going to need down payments. They're not going to need credit because they're going to buy a house with sweat equity.
All right, friends, welcome back. So we're actually out on site right now. This is Luvi, who's part of our program. And what I want to do is I want to walk you through a house that she actually has a contract in place for. So as you guys know, as we've been learning about together, one of the things you're going to have to do is you've got to get out and you got to start looking. And when you find a place, you're going to put an offer in on the property, but this is when you put conditions in place so that you can have professionals properly evaluate the property. So we just got an inspection back on this property, and we're trying to make our final decisions on whether or not Luvi proceeds with this house or not. And we're going to take a close look through the property together. We're going to walk through it in this video, and I'm going to show you examples of different things and what they cost, and we're going to try and figure out, do we want to move forward, what she's already quoted, and how much do you have this under contract for right now?
$399.
So she's got an offer in that they've accepted at $399,000. Now we have the inspection report, and we're looking at this. We're going to decide if we're going to waive the conditions. She's going to buy the place for $399,000, or based on what we've learned in the inspection, we can also go back to the vendors and offer them a discounted price or reduce the price based on things that we see. So we're going to try and figure out all that stuff together. But first, let's have a walkthrough and see what we're looking at here. So let's start in here. So the layout of this house is actually a 2-bedroom plus this bonus room, if you will, house. What this used to be, according to the real estate agent, is a garage that was converted. So it's like it almost feels like a 3-season room that you have here. You could have a little pull-out couch in here. Let's close this door behind you. Now, when we're talking about what this is going to cost and what it's worth to us, and you're doing these pass-throughs, it's really important just to take your time and look at everything that you see in the property. And so I'm going to start having these observations I'm making right away. One of the first things that I see coming into this room, when I look at the ceiling, I see all kinds of discoloration all across here, which tells me there could be water issues above this. And so I want to make sure the inspector addresses that in his report. I want to be able to see that. But when I'm looking generally in here, I'm trying to think about renovations. What I'm seeing right away is we want to rip down all the ceilings. So we're going to have to take that down. And then we look at the windows that you have here. Clearly, you'd want to replace all the windows in the property, right? And then even the rest of this room, I think it needs more insulation. It might need to completely be fixed, but you can definitely see like new doors and dress this room right up. And also it's concrete on the floor under here, right? So if we take one of these bricks out of the way, we can see what it's sitting on. Everything's been laid in. You already know this would be a complete gut job if you're doing this property. Okay, cool. Let's go into the kitchen here. When we walk into the house proper, we're walking into this, is it kind of like a back room, the main entranceway? This is the mechanical system for water now. This is the hot water tank for the whole house. Yeah. It's small, eh? It looks very new.
Yeah.
So this is a well here at this place, right? So this is the pump that brings the water out of the well. Then this is a pressure tank that pressurizes it. Then it goes into the hot water tank. Is there any type of UV system or anything like that? No, so there's no water purification. Yeah, so what you might want to consider if you were to buy this place is changing this around and closing it in and making this a whole room so you can have a proper size hot water tank and
That's right.
really dress that up a bit again. The other thing I'm feeling here is there's a bit of a lean to this, right? It's on a bit of an angle. You can feel it as you walk this way. It's not level there.
Yeah.
That part of it. Again, all this old paneling would have to go, so you'd want to rip out the whole walls. Now we're into the kitchen. Yeah, I think you'd need to redesign this whole area. Well, it's just the way it's laid out too. Like what I would probably do in the kitchen is rip all this out. And if you leave your stove here, great, but put the fridge against the wall. Have a little counter in between it. And then over here, rip all this out, put new counters in, put a dishwasher in, and put cupboards on the top.
Yeah.
So you've got more space. Thin walls too, eh? You can see that. Same thing. What we're seeing in this property is it's just old. The building was actually built in the 20s, which shouldn't scare you. Like these houses can last forever, but you can see all the work that needs to be done. Again, you look at the windows. The windows are the same throughout the place, right?
Yeah.
So all the windows would need to be redone, doors, and then the carpeting. So let's just assume for a second. We looked at the bathroom already, and we can just have a quick look at that there. If you look at the bathroom, you can see it's as old as the hills. Over here, we've got the electrical panel. This electrical panel is probably, I would guess, like 30 years old. Luckily, it has been upgraded from where it originally was, because this would have originally been a house that had fuses. Do you know what the fuses are?
Yes.
At the size, the age of this, so they've done some work in here already. If you want to think about like what this would cost, what do you got? 2 windows here. There's one in the bathroom, another one in here, so that's 4 big windows in here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All the windows alone are going to cost you 15 grand to do. But you have to rip out all of the flooring through the whole place and get people in here to level all this stuff. And you'd want to put like a really nice floor, like an engineered hardwood floor. You're going to be looking at somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 for your flooring. At the same time, you'd rip all this stuff out yourself. So the demolition side of it won't cost you a lot. But you also want to upgrade the heating, the air conditioning. And I'll tell you, the more that I look at what you have back here, it needs a lot of love. Did the inspector say that you need a new roof on this side as well?
Yeah, because this side is the one that is not upgraded.
And it's flat, right?
And it's flat.
So you'd be talking about another 15 grand there. So we're already up just in the flooring, 35, 45, 50. You'd have to put a proper heating system in here too. So I would put a propane system in, because in this town, a lot of the houses around you all have propane systems. So a new furnace, hot water tank, that's all done by propane, it's going to cost you another 20 grand. So you're up to 70 grand. Because of the way this is laid out, so the way the ground source heat pump, it's like a big box on a wall, and it has the air conditioner and the heating system built into it. We'd have to take a closer look at it. The challenge with the ground source heat pump is because it's so broken up into little rooms, you're going to need more than one device. So you need probably 3 of them, I would think, to run this place properly. And they're installed anywhere between 3 and 5 grand. So you'd be looking either way.
Each unit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just because if you had more of an open concept, you might be able to do that differently.
So what if we open this?
Well, I don't know if I'd want to open it or not. Like, I would say to put a hole in the wall for sure, but I'm almost thinking that it would be better to get rid of this.
Yeah.
This whole wall. I don't know if this is a load-bearing wall or what it is. We'd have to take a closer look at it. But if you could open this up even more and make this part of your kitchen,
Yes.
you'd probably be in a better place. But then we have to see if we can move all the plumbing and heating and everything into that room, just so you have a bigger kitchen here. But then you're stuck with a 2-bedroom house. The concern would be, so if we just go back to the math for a second. So we're already at 50 grand for those 3 things. This whole new kitchen, by the time you're finished, is going to cost you, with the countertops and the appliances,
Cabinets.
probably 12,000. So you're at 62. and your roof outside, you know, you're going to spend $100,000 in here to renovate this place the right way. The biggest thing that I'd like to do, I'd like to go back and read your inspection report and actually talk to them, because I see a lot of places like this in cottages. You know, I do a lot with cottages, and when I'm looking at cottages that are right on the ground like that, and you can start to feel that they're starting to wave a bit, that's because the footings underneath move over time. The ground moves, right? So I'm a little bit concerned about that. Now, on the other side of the coin, getting this place for $399 is a steal. Like, just where this is, this area, this town in the summertime, it's crazy. You know, everybody wants to come here. That's Lake Simcoe. It's beautiful. It's right there. I think you're on the extreme side of a house.
Extreme.
But I think that with whatever the inspector says, well, I'll take a look at that and then I'll get back to you. I got to get your phone number before we go. I think you have something you could work with here.
Yeah. Actually, when I read the inspection yesterday, I said, this is what I expected. It needs a lot of work. And then when I heard the appraisal, I'm okay, because it is appraised properly.
Yeah. Well, the appraisers, the inspectors who I really put all the weight in for anything like this, because the appraisers, you can get a real estate agent, if you have a good agent, to give you just as good an understanding of the value as an appraiser will. The appraiser just has the accreditation, but they're both doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, when you get the appraisal report, you're going to see that he came up with the value based on comparables. It's called a comparable cost analysis. So they'll tell you all the things about it, the benefits, where it is, but then on about three quarters of the way through the report, they'll actually say, we found these 3 properties that just sold in the last 90 days, and the average of these is that, so your price is this.
Yeah. In the inspection report, I saw about electrical too.
What do they say?
It says there's something that is taped together.
Can you pull that up and show me that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. So like you see here where that's taped, what should have happened there is that's called a moret, this little thing here. They should just do that. So you would have, I have an electrician that I can send up here to get you to help you with it. And he could go through all that stuff. Yes, he's found another wire that's taped. I'm not so worried about that. No, the big thing that I'm concerned about is this, like the structure stability.
Yeah, me too.
So seeing that in the report that says there's all that mold down there is not so much of an idea, but wood rot, you know, that's scary. If that report said, and I will want to talk to the inspector about it, because if the inspector, they're really smart people. If he says, you know, this is old, but it'll last another 50 years, great. But if that inspector comes back and says, this place needs to be lifted up and fixed, yeah, you're talking like $70,000-$80,000
just for lifting it.
Yeah. So that's the big thing we want to focus on, is just finding out what that difference is.
I'm concerned with that too.
Yeah. Overall, let's go back. You and I will get on the phone and we'll have a conversation with the inspector just to clarify that one thing, and then. If depending on what he says, I don't think I'm necessarily afraid of this. I think that if you got it for $390, so $400, and you put $100,000 into it, you will increase the value to $700,000, and you can get it refinanced pretty easily at that level. It's crazy, eh?
Yes. I was also thinking to just...
Is this the bathroom?
Yes. Connect them together.
I wouldn't connect them together, but what I would probably do is move the door. This is the septic system here? There's the septic system, eh? Where is the septic system?
It's not septic, it's holding.
It's a holding tank.
Holding tank.
Yeah. So it's a cottage. I tell you, I love the fact that there's the lake right there. And that's a beach down there, public access?
Public access, yes.
So she probably at one point in time had a view of the lake, and then another house was built in front of it.
People built customs, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, trees grew out, but yeah, at one point, yeah.
Do you know where the lot line is?
Up to like this section.
That's cool. Awesome. I'm glad I came. I think there is potential here. I think that we're gonna spend $100,000 easily for it. It'll be worth it. It'll be beautiful. Yeah, totally. It's freezing. I'm glad I came up, because it was so hard to really understand it from where we were looking at it. You can tell it was a cottage. I mean, look at the tree. Yeah, it's definitely would make a great starter home with the upgrades. Right? All right, friends. So you got to be very, very careful with these properties. This is either a gem or it's a curse. And we're going to have to wait and talk to the inspector. So we're going to talk to the inspector this afternoon. Like the big things that we're really worried about with this place is that because it's sitting on the ground, when we take a look at pictures underneath the property, we can see that the house is sitting on old style cinder blocks. Now, it's normal. Like you see that a lot in old constructions. This place was built in 1920. And in this area where she bought this property, people are buying lots for the amount that she paid for this whole house. It looks like it can be renovated for about $100,000 to $120,000, and it looks like the price will go up to $700,000 to $750,000, which all the numbers make sense. But based on what I saw and what it looks like the inspector is saying, you know, this place might not be on Shorestead. And if the inspector tells us that we have to lift it up and refix the base of the property, we'll walk away from it. So maybe we'll do another episode with you a little later, but like always, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Leave us some comments if you have any questions. I check the questions personally, and watch for the next video on this house.